card is perfect. It's just
Good morning, Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living.
Last night, did it fun?
Enjoy the chats, enjoy the hugs. Welcome to everybody. Thank you also for turning off all those little noisemaker things that click and pop and ring and do all sorts of tones and make noise. If you're joining online, thank you very much. Glad you're here. My name's Brian Kurtz. My pronouns are he and him. And I'm grateful to see all the people here. Great to see some new faces and some older faces, and glad to see Reverend Martha here. I know you probably don't want me singling you out, too late.
Goodness.
But we've got some great stuff going on. Annie Benjamin is in the house. Multi-instrumentalist, multi-talented, multi-genre. She's pretty amazing. I'm glad Annie's here. Sherry Noon is taking over for Doug Bowe in our greeter position, giving everybody lots of love and hugs. Our tech team, Sue, has gotten it together. I'm not seeing any glitches yet. Cheryl Ray's on board. Thank
Big
you.
one. I just lost the show. Just for you.
Well, except when the universe says, you think you got it. You think you got it down. And Spirit has other ideas. So thank you, universe, for teaching us patience and allowing everything to become teaching material. Chaplain Carmela Herrera is holding the service in consciousness and prayer today. Chris Duval will be leading our vision and mission statements. And Reverend Gill is here with maybe the coolest shirt I have seen you wear in quite some time. Going to be leading our service today. Coming up on September the 2nd, Labor Day, 11:30 to 2, is going to be our annual community picnic for RGCSL. Come on, it's a picnic. Thank you. Bring your musical instrument, bring your food, bring stuff to grill. You can do vegan food, you can do vegetarian food, you can bring meat, you can bring spam. We're not really sure what that is, but you can bring it and grill it if you want to. Gates open at 10. There's going to be plenty to do, plenty to hang out, people to hug, beautiful scenery, so be there if you can. Where? At Elena Gallegos Park, which is the open space, also known as the Kiwanis Open Space, near the foothills. Big pavilion, lots of places to hang out, plenty of parking spaces. You got no excuse not to be there unless you're out of town. And there will be a sign up on Breeze, so you can register, get all the info, and make sure that everyone knows who's bringing what and who's doing what. Thank you.
Let us open our hearts and our minds to the light, to the wave of love that is sweeping through our communities, through our nation, to the joy, to the peace that simply is. Let us awaken to the memory of our essential selves, that which is the truth about us, that which is divine power, presence, and intelligence. I unify this service this morning with that power, with that love, with that understanding. And I know it is blessed. We are blessed as a community, that each of us is blessed and receives what is needed for our work this morning. And so I just allow this service to unfold in perfection, and let's say together, and so it is.
sing a song that you'll know.
All right.
I'm happy to be here this morning. Susan asked me to come sing for y'all. I was like, yay!
It's a nice way to start off the summer.
All right.
I did this. Brian did this, by the way.
Guitar there? Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Thank y'all, that was good.
Yes. Did you mute?
Am I on now? There we go. Okay, I'm good now. Thank you, everybody. We have just learned the value of words on a screen. Man, we were pathetic, weren't we? My goodness. Poor Annie, she comes in as a guest and we all leave her hanging up here. I don't know. All right. She did all right. Wow. So I am Reverend Gil William Olmsted. I am the spiritual director here at Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. My pronouns are he and him. And I am excited to be back recently from Mexico. Yay, it's very fun. And I'm just glad to be here. One of the first things that we like to do on a regular basis is greet Chico, because he has a lot to say. We like to just anchor why we're here and what we're about. And so basically you can boil things down to 4 basic things, and I just like to bring those up. And one of them, the very first one, is we believe in how many gods? One. Okay. A lot of different names? Yes. So it's not a limitation in that regard. It's just acknowledging that it's all one power happening at the same time. And we also know that our thought has power in our lives. It is able to guide us on what we're seeing and what we're thinking. I learned a really interesting fact about that. But the truth is that we have power over that. And that allows us to change our life. We also know that everything is an expression of love. It's all love. There's nothing but love. It sometimes looks messy, sometimes kind of ugly, but it's still love. And so we hold that to be true. And finally, we are all whole, perfect, and complete. Right where we are. So take that in, breathe it in, know that that's true. And so as we know that, I want to take this time to just welcome everyone here. We're so happy that you're here. We're so happy that people are online or that you're watching us later. That is fantastic. And we want to greet everyone. And so if you are new with us for the first time and you feel like identifying yourself, you're welcome to do so. Or the second time. You can identify yourself if you want. But we're going to send a blessing to everyone, and please receive this from us. So let's rub our hands together. And let's send the energy out and say, we see you.
We see you.
We know who you really are.
We know who you
He seems to want to be on stage, so I'll just bring him up. It's time for our vision and mission statement. I think it's gonna come, but
They stopped talking to each other. I apologize.
it's okay. It's here. So our vision, transforming our world with the power of love in action. And our mission, loving all creation through spiritual growth and service, always staying true to our highest self. And this morning I have some readings from Ernest Holmes on change, on peace. They're from the Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation. They were collected in the mid-1990s. Before that, just a oldie but goodie. Oh God, grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And this is Ernest Holmes. I have never met a person who had a complete sense of being absolutely forgiven, or who felt right with the universe, who ever condemned anybody else. And I never shall. Why? Because we can only speak from our own center. There is an integrity in the universe that will not lose the potentiality of its creativity, the wonder and the power of its might, and the glory of its action. And we must bring ourselves to obey it. One of the oldest sayings in the world is this: nature obeys us as we first obey it. The universe is foolproof, but we shall have a sense of fear until our confidence in God and in life and in people is greater than our confusion. The laws of the universe are exact. They are just without judgment, impartial, impersonal, but not negative. They are active. They respond to us according to our thought. While we would hurt a single soul, we shall suffer the hurt of others. While we cause tears, we shall shed them. While we would confine anyone to a place that is not good, we must inhabit the same realm. That is the balance that is intelligence. And a prayer for world peace. I know that there is but one mind, which is the mind of God, in which all people live and move and have their being. I know there is a divine pattern for humanity, and within this pattern there is infinite harmony and peace, cooperation, unity, and mutual helpfulness. I know that the mind of each person, being one with the mind of God, shall discover the method, the way and the means best fitted to permit the flow of divine love between individuals and nations. I know there shall be a free interchange of ideas, of cultures, of spiritual concepts, of ethics, educational systems, and scientific discoveries. For all good belongs to all alike. I know that because the divine mind has created us all, we are bound together in one infinite and perfect unity. In bringing about world peace, I know that all people and all nations will remain individual but unified for the common purpose of promoting peace, happiness, harmony, and prosperity. We're talking about peace. I know that deep within every person, the divine pattern of perfect peace is already implanted. I now declare it in each person and in leaders of thought everywhere. This divine pattern moves into action and form to the end that all nations and all people shall live together in peace, harmony, and prosperity forever. And so it is.
like that, we got a big boisterous bark there for the peace. It's always called the surface of the moon. And the moon is always changing. We're always gonna come back and be full again, right? Tonight she walks in darkness, but it's just a phase that she's going through. If you could give her a little time, you'll see her face is full as the moon. And although the stars seem bright, her face is dim and hard to see. Her heart is waning, waxing upon this love, and if it's meant to be. And many have walked here, raised their flags and seen the view. They've never gone below the surface. The surface of the moon. And you may see her up there shining, but there's a dark side that she hides from view. When evening's over, she returns to a place far away where shadows are real, so blue. And many have walked all over here, taken and done things they shouldn't do, but they've just marred the surface, the surface of the moon. Dig a little deeper and dig down to the core. Fly a little farther and then you'll see so much more than you see, so much more. And tonight she walks in darkness, but it's just a phase that she's going through. Give her a little time, you'll see her face is full as the moon. Her face is full as the moon.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Large dogs in the parking lot. Did anyone bring a couple of large dogs with them and maybe roaming our parking lot right now? They have collars but no tags. Okay.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will just remind those of you with the small dogs to be careful on your way out. So, my title today is The Gift of the Emergent. It's an interesting thought, but I've really been thinking about this whole concept of emergence, and so I really wanted to share that today. But before I start, I do want to ask, who was here yesterday for the meditation time? Yeah. And I just want to note that what I heard was this is important and powerful for ourselves and to be together. And so I just wanted to thank Marilyn for hearing the need in herself and offering it forth. So thank you. Failure is merely feedback that there is something blocking the path of emergence and expansion of the greatest version of yourself. Anybody notice that? Can't turn it down? Anyway, Ernest Holmes. No, he didn't. Mother Teresa said it. Well, that was a good guess. That was a good guess. Mother Teresa said that. So, I would modify it slightly. The appearance of failure, the thing that looks like it didn't work, the thing that looks like it's out of place, is the indicator of what we should be looking at. It's the opportunity to look at something else, to see what's trying to come through. So we've been doing a book study. For those of you who know, we've been studying The Abundance Project, written by Derek Riddell. And he talks about emergence in there in ways that are really powerful. And I wanted to share some of that because it's so pertinent to where we are and what's happening. We have these opportunities for things to show up in our lives. And the question is, are we going to step into them, or are we going to try to maintain and keep the boundary around what is? He gives a great analogy in there. He talks about the acorn and the oak. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's perfect. So you have an acorn, it goes in the ground, and it has to break open in order to germinate and become an oak. Now what if the acorn decided to go see a healer when his shell started to crack? What if you tried to bundle up more and tighten in and hold it together? Just hold it together and white knuckle it. You might succeed. Derek points out, of course, he might also get eaten by a squirrel. But he might succeed, but the problem is he would only succeed at being who he already was, not what was trying to come forth, not what was really within him to be. So that's the idea. So, a couple of things he says here is, do you want to be a beneficial presence to your family or your community? You tell yourself, someday, when I have enough time, I'll do blippity-blip. Someday when I have enough time and money, etc., I'm going to do that. That is living from the outside in. It's looking out to when I get what I need, I will be able to. Anybody do that? Yeah, I've done that a lot of times. The other direction is inside out. What's coming forth as you? If we stand in a place of being whole, perfect, and complete, then all that we need is within us. All that we need is already present. And so, when things begin to emerge from us and we realize we have this calling towards something or this desire towards something, it is a part of the opportunity to become more of who we've always meant to be. He goes on to say that if we ignore or delay this urgency, it becomes an emergency, forcing us to pay attention. Now, I know none of you can relate to this. Symptoms like depression, accidents, any manner of breakdowns in various life structures, health, wealth, work relationships. You ever found yourself going, why is it all falling apart? What is happening? What's going on? Maybe, just maybe, it's a message. That somehow we're holding up the flow. We're not allowing something to come forth, and our bodies can't take that, and our our minds can't take it, and we have to find a way to relieve the emotional pain of knowing that we're holding something back. Instead of moving in the direction of the
They're picking it up from here. I turned
unfolding.
it.
Now, he goes on to say this: the universe is perfectly efficient. It will reallocate its resources to something or someone that is willing to let it unfold. Ever had a great idea and then seen it? And gone, wait, thought of that 10 years ago. Yep, you did. And maybe it didn't come out. Now, I don't know who may be familiar with Bobcat Goldthwait. Comedian, was a comedian, he's not less of a comedian now, but anyway, I discovered he was a metaphysician. Because one of the things he says describes how the universe works. He says that I lost my job. Well, I didn't really lose my job, I know where it is. But when I go there, someone else is doing it. Right? Something else is happening. The universe is not going to allow what needs to emerge to go undone. It's just going to find a way to express it. And so we have the opportunity to stand in that space when we know it's ours to do or not. So, since coming here 2 years ago, I felt an overarching sense that Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living is this place of growth and change and possibility. And I realized that we're living the vision that has been for this community for a long time. But the thing that I wanted to talk about was, as a community, we experience the same emergence process as we do as individuals. So things try to come up, try to come through, and if we get stuck in protecting whatever was, or not being willing to look at some possibility, we can miss what's emerging. And I believe that in reality, that our intention as a community is to allow what's best to emerge, to allow ourselves to become the best at serving the community as a whole, the best at taking care of one another, the best at whatever it is we're called to do, whatever that may be. So what's that mean for us as individuals then? How do we support that? Well, we have to look at what's coming from us. We have to see what's emanating from within us, and we have to honor that. If we honor that and each person does their little piece, the community begins to open up as it needs to. You know, sometimes we have something and we think, oh, I didn't do that well because so-and-so did this, they did more, they did better, they gave more, they showed up for a longer time, they whatever it was. No, we do our piece. Our piece is what needs to be done. Your particular piece is what needs to be done. When you stand there and listen to someone for 5 minutes, that is exactly what needs to happen then. They need someone to listen. And so that is the thing, is to continually stand in what's coming up through you. When Marilyn says, I have a feeling we need to meditate, I need to meditate. How can I facilitate that? And she does her part. Now, I could say, well, I guess I'm not a very good minister because I didn't think of that. I didn't make that happen. It wasn't mine to do. I need to do what I need to do. And we all need to do that. So another thing we can do is release the fear that we may have around what's emerging in our lives. You ever had some changes happening in your life and you just were a little afraid of where that was taking you? Yeah. Yeah. Well, if we can do what we can to let go of that fear, that's huge. And to begin to trust beyond what we can see in terms of our understanding. I think that's the thing with emergence, is it's the difference between sticking with what we understand and what we know, and working with the things that we feel coming up, that we feel called to, that we don't have all the answers for. We don't know how they're going to work. But we get the opportunity to step into them. And as I'm sure most of us have experienced, the breakdown, which is the breakthrough. One of the things that Derek talks about in his book is this idea that if we're looking from the outside in, we end up getting things caught, the hose gets kinked and nothing can flow through it. And so as that happens, we get constricted. Well, if we don't let that go, if we don't extract that kink, if we don't get that thing out of the way, if we don't allow it to fall away, if we don't allow that person to take a different direction, if we don't allow this thing in our lives to drop away and not be important anymore, if we don't do those things, then the kink in the hose remains and what's trying to emerge can't get through. So there are times when, as we begin to allow it to fall away, that's when it's really coming forth. Sorry. And then we work together. Work together to release the kinks in our community hose, to figure out how to straighten that thing out, and to allow the things that we need to move on and to embrace what's coming forward. And that's a great opportunity. So my thought is that this community that we see right now is the seedling of this tree. We're not seeing them. There's been a vision of something very much bigger, very much larger in terms of impact. And we're just finding our way, allowing what's coming up to step into it. It's the one bud in the poppy field, and the poppy field isn't there yet. The one is there. So we have the choice. Do we build the protections around what we see and what we know, what feels comfortable and what works for us? Or do we take the adventure of continuing to step forward, continuing to open up to what's new? And I think really that the fun lies in the breadth and depth, discovering the breadth and depth of who we really are and what's really happening. So, for instance, last winter, we had a gala. Anybody remember that? Yeah. Well, that gala, I think, had about 5 weeks of prep time or so, if I remember right. It did not have the most lead time. It was not, in some ways, it was not the right way to do it. It just wasn't. But as a community, we are sponsoring a group of high school teens doing volunteer work. So now we have some teenage energy that floats around the center here and there. And it doesn't look exactly like maybe we thought it might or think it could in the future, but it's happening because we are taking it on and stepped into it. And if you've been here on a Friday night, which I happen to know Andy has been, solid ground. You know, we've stepped into taking on a huge thing. And why? Because the vision has been there. And as the opportunity emerged, it was time. Was it all the way we wanted it to be, or simple, or without issues? No. And it requires a lot of energy and a lot of work. And yet, we can see the beginnings of what it's bringing, which is so powerful and so wonderful. And we just continue to see that emerge. And I've been approached and have been talking about the whole idea of the fact that we have multiple cultures in our community and we are not very good at reaching all of them. And going to Mexico for the week, for the conference that I was at, reminded me of how many people in our town speak Spanish. And we haven't reached that. And what's been coming up in me is how do we do that? What can happen? And so one of the pieces in talking to people has been perhaps we can partner with a center based in Mexico to have some connections and to learn some more and to get some insight and perhaps learn from one another how better to be serving our communities. Now that would be a different step that we haven't done before. But it could be really powerful. It's about collaboration. It's about collaborating. When last December, when we decided that we were going to open the doors and share our space and our community time with unity, that's called collaboration. Do you know one of the first words I heard when I came here? Collaboration. We want to collaborate. We want to work with other people. We want to do this thing. And we're doing that. But how that's going to look next week or the week after, we don't know. And the question is, are we willing to be open to what's possible? You know, would we be willing to adjust who we are in order to create something that includes more? That's the opportunity with emergence. That's the gift of emergence. Because when it comes up and we step into it, we get the opportunity to embrace something new. We get the opportunity to become more of who we've meant to be and to step into a place of showing up in a way we didn't know we could. We may not even realize we could. I don't know about you, but I've been in those places where I really felt like I just can't. I'm not prepared, I'm not qualified, I'm not something. And it's okay. But when something shows up and it asks me to do it anyway, then I have to take the step. I have to move into it. I have to decide that I'm going to risk it. So, we are doing that on all fronts here, and we are going to continue to share with you what's happening in that regard. But I'm inviting us all to be a part of it and to celebrate it, to celebrate what's emerging, and to know that it is good. It is good. And the last thing we want the universe to do is go down the street. Right? Oh. So with that, I want to just take a minute and anchor this in prayer, anchor this idea, invite the practitioners and ministers to circle the room, to hold the space, just as Spirit is constantly holding us. And so I'm knowing right here and right now how grateful I am. How grateful I am that Spirit has chosen to express itself as me, as you, as all of us together, as all of us individually. And so I'm knowing that as we all express Spirit, we are truly one. There is no separation between us as individuals or between us and Spirit. Because we are all the same emergent Spirit in each one of us. And so knowing that, I am standing here declaring that we are absolutely the divine place of excitement, of emergence, of perfection, no matter what it looks like. Even as things move and change and expand and contract and continue to bring in the new and continue to allow what's no longer serving to move on, that allows the space for everyone to win, everything to win. When we let go of those things we're hanging on to so tightly, suddenly they are free to become what they need to be. When we let go of those ideas that we hold on so tightly, they can expand into a much broader idea. And so I'm trusting that this is what we are doing. And as we hold this idea of peace in the world, in our hearts, we know that what we see in our eyes is not what is real. That in fact, we continue to look through the eyes of Spirit, to know that there's something deeper, to know that underneath what we see is this incredible process, incredible plan revealing itself. And the unseen becomes the seen. So I'm grateful for that. I bless each one who struggles with any kind of health issue, any kind of thing that's holding them back as they're moving through their life. Their body is changing and shifting, and we know that at the very core is the perfection of each individual. And so we just trust its expression, and we give thanks for it. And as we do that, we just take this minute to be grateful. And release this word and say, and so it is.
So it is. You st- psh,
So when I heard that the topic today was
No, I'll get it.
emergence, I
I'll
was
go there.
excited because as a songwriter, so much of what drives me is going through the process of change. Because it's an outlet, and creativity is a wonderful way to face things that scare you or things that are uncomfortable. And so when Susan said that that emergence and change, and embracing that emergence was a topic, I was so excited. So in 2017, my partner, my husband of 25 years, left me, and I was so in love with him, and my whole world fell apart. But that's how I got out here, and that's how I put out a really amazing album. And sometimes fear is not a bad thing if you know how to turn it into something wonderful, and that's what this song's about. It's called Run. And I don't know if anybody in here was a runner or is a runner. I used to run, I don't anymore, but it's such a great analogy, so. There's a freedom that you get when you run, so. This is called Run. Looks like we've reached a fork in the road. I've been holding your hand, but it's time to let go. You've got a compass, a map, and a plan. Oh, but I've got emotions and feelings that I don't understand. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. But I'll take a deep breath and run. The road you're traveling is straight, it's narrow, and it leads back home. Mine is the journey, it's a twisted path I roam. It's unpredictable, it's rocky, it's dark, and sometimes I fall. Oh, but you need security, a flashlight with batteries and walls. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. But I'll take a deep breath and run. If I push a little harder, oh, my heart will get stronger. When the will finds the wind, it learns to fly again. Woo! All right, the dogs are running for us. The road is calling and I've got to move ahead. Too many tears have fallen and everything's been said. You're great backup singers. Poverty and papers divide her hand side. All I gotta do is learn how to say goodbye. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. But I'll take a deep breath.
Christine.
And run. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna lace up my shoes, run off into the sunset. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna
Thank you. I realized that we normally do the offering and then she plays that during it. And I was so glad we were just focusing on you. That was so wonderful for that song. Thank you. No mistakes. Yes, they are. Oh, so then we take a moment now to offer our gifts. We all have the opportunity to offer our time and our energy, and so many people demonstrate that all week long. And I just want to thank all of us for that. And Sunday mornings we have the opportunity to give of our treasure. And the baskets are here to receive. Those of you online, there's ways to do it that may be going across your screen. Those of us that are here, we can use all those same ways as well. So, thank you so much, and let's bless this together.
I get
No, okay, no affirmation up on the screen. So we're just going to right now affirm, I am prosperous. I am prosperous. And I give from my prosperity. I am blessed, and I give from my blessings. My blessings are as abundant as the stars.
And I
Generously. Give and receive generously, and so it is.
they talk too loud. It's too loud. They do Thinking.
And so we just take a moment to bless all of the gifts, to know that they are used for the furtherment of love and peace in our world. And that as we give, we receive, and as we receive, we give. And so it is.
It has been a joy to be together and celebrate together this morning. We're grateful that all of you are present. We're grateful to Annie and to Gil for the wonderful messages that we received through your speaking and song. And I want to say that we are a praying community. We believe in the power of prayer. It's based in law, the way that the universe works. We call them spiritual mind treatments, and we do a mini treatment over here in the prayer garden for people, and we hope that you will take advantage of that. We also have a prayer box in the back, and there is a way that you can access prayer during the weeks through the website as well. Also, we love to eat here and love to sit around tables and visit, and so we do that after service, go right through the kitchen there into the fellowship hall, and we'll have a nice time of fellowship together. So now it's back to Annie for the closing song, and then to Gil for our affirmation.
Okay, so we all know this song too. Sing with me. And please stand if you want to, or sit, or however you want to feel best singing. Singing together is something that we didn't get to do for a few years, so it's just such a joy to get to sing with y'all and hear voices besides my own. My own personal echo chamber is not always but singing together is such a gift, and it's good for our hearts and our souls, so let's all sing all the time. Wherever you are, wherever you go, you're still in our hearts. You still belong here. And if we don't see you, wherever you go, you're still in our hearts. You still belong.
They're not talking either.
And when you return, we will be right here. You're still in our hearts. You still belong here. You're still in our hearts. You still belong here.
So let's go out with this affirmation today. You can repeat it after me. I celebrate my life.
I celebrate my life.
And I welcome emergence.
And I welcome emergence.
So it is.
So it is.